So, let's be honest. The last 2 weeks of the season, our defense had looked pretty dang good. But I didn't realize until I looked at these stats how amazing our defense has actually looked. Shout out to Willie Lutz for posting this on Twitter. But starting off right away, I have to explain this to you in case you don't know what EPA is. EPA is extra points added. It's pretty much the efficiency of each drive. So, well, actually each play technically. So, for example, just a little example here. If you start on the 20-yard line, your EPA is going to be a 0.7. Let's say you get from the 20 to the 50. Now your EPAs could go up to 2 points. Let's say you go 3 and out at the 50. So what you do is you take the 2 points, subtract it from where you started, 0.7, let's say, for example, the 20-yard line, and your EPA ends up being 1.3. That's how EPA works in a nutshell. It's just how efficient each drive is, right? So offensively, if you have a high EPA, you're good. You're in the clear. You're doing great football. But if you have a low EPA or a negative EPA, that's really, really bad. Now, over a collective group of games, let's say, for example, from week 1 to week 6, as a defense, you should have a negative EPA. If you have a positive EPA in those collected games against your opponents, again, defense doesn't get EPA, but against the opponent's EPA collectively, that means they're scoring on you every single time they have the football. Which, again, no one has a positive ETA. The first 4 weeks of the season, when we played the Ravens, the Browns, the Ravens, the Rams, and then the Titans, we had a negative 0.042 EPA, which is very close to a 0 EPA, which is absolutely horrendous. We were 25th ranked in the league on how much our defense gave up efficiency yards, how much our defense gave up big plays that actually matter. Because, for example, if you go, let's say, 50 yards down the field and you do nothing on the drive over and over and over again, and you never score, you're not going to have that great of an EPA at a quarterback position, right? Because you're not really how efficient is this drive. Well, your expected points is to do A, but you're not doing anything with it. And if you throw interceptions, it also subtracts, and it gets really in depth when it comes to that kind of stuff. But on the surface level, again, negative 0.42 is horrendous. Right now, the last 2 weeks, we're sitting at the 5th best in the NFL at negative 1.68. Negative 0.168, which is amazing. I mean, to see that change of 20 spots with, again, we did play the Cardinals and we played the Seahawks. These are not, the best teams in the NFL. I mean, the Seahawks are a really great team, but the Cardinals obviously are not the best team. But our defense is stepping up and making plays. Our success rate the first 4 weeks of the season was a 46.4%, which was ranked 27th in the NFL, which is horrendous. The last 2 weeks, success rate 10th, 40.8%. And we already know last week, I mean, literally our defense won us that game, right? Our defense absolutely won us that game. Drop back EPA, 21st. The last 2 weeks, our drop back EPA has been 8th, which is 41.9%. Rush EPA was 22nd the last 2 weeks, and then obviously rush EPA before that was 26th. So much better than we were, again, to begin the season off. And just a little indication, if I didn't explain it correctly, this is a good example. For example, expected points, when you start the 20, you're going to be starting with probably 0.7. And then if you get, let's say, a 20-yard gain, now you're at the 40, your expected points is 2.06. So the closer you get to the end zone, the higher the expected points goes up. And whatever you finish the drive on with those expected points, then you subtract where you started. So if you started the 50, you're automatically starting with 3 points. So let's say you start the 50 and you go nowhere. Now you're going to have negative points because you didn't do anything with that drive. So the longer you go, the better. And just a little glimpse of us throughout the years. This goes all the way back to 2009 for our EPAs. You can see defensive EPA right now, we're up there. Actually, wait, defensive play. Oh, sorry, no, this is our defensive EPA. This is our offensive EPA. That right there is our offensive EPA, guys. Yeah, our offense has struggled very, very much this year. And when you're back here, which is the worst offense we have had, literally since 2009, that's very, very bad, right? That's very, very horrendous. You don't want to have that bad of an offensive EPA. And, again, we've had struggles this season so far, and hopefully we can turn this around and, fix our problems. But yeah, no, this is the worst offense we have had, start the season off first 6 weeks of any team on this board right here, which is really, really horrendous. And right now, we're 3-3, but we have a net EPA of negative 0.09. Like I said before, you don't want to have that at all, which is a 22nd in the league. Which, yeah, it's definitely not what you want there, right? And you can see right here, our defensive EPA, it was kind of not the greatest, and then it's going straight down negative, which is great. That's what you want on defense. Offensively, you don't want to have a positive, you don't have negative ETA on EPA. I keep saying ETA, I meant to say EPA on offense. So, again, like I said, just shows how our defense is now finally getting going, right? Our defense is now finally, showing up and getting to work and kind of figuring this system out, which is great. That's exactly what we need right now, is our offense to actually get going. Problem is, our defense to get going. Problem is, our offense needs to get going too. Because the good way to have a positive or negative EPA on defense is have a really good one on offense, right? Keep the ball away from your teams. And right here, we actually rank right around here for EPA on offense and defense. So it's a long season. I'll say it like that, because you guys already know my frustrations right now so far. And by the way, shout out to Nefelo website for posting this, because absolutely great resource here. I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't know as much as I know now about EPA going into this video. I watched like 27 videos on how to, every little detail of EPA, because I wanted to make sure I explained it correctly. But again, like I said, film grade expected wins. Yeah, so there's a lot of things. When you get into EPA, you get into these analytics, there's a lot of details you're going to get into when it comes to, all the coach talk. I mean, it's not really coach talk. All the, statistical talk, right? It gets really deep. So I kind of try to go on the, top of the rabbit hole for a lot of you guys, because I know a lot of you guys don't want to go deep like that into stats. So hopefully that made sense, guys. Tell me down below your thoughts and opinions, though, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.